Good morning, this is Jenny D, and today I'm going to go through using Ezy Shaid as a treatment for your backgrounds of your colouring pages. Now I've chosen this seahorse here because he has a nice large white area around him, and I have coloured already the lines in pencil. Now just a little quick note about the product. This is called Ezy Shaid. You may not have seen it if you live in the US. This is the blue expansion pack, and they retail for $10 Australian. This is the starter pack, which retails for $30 Australian. Now this product is a pigment powder which you can use wet or dry. Today I'm going to be using it dry, a bit like a pastel or a chalk, to fill in large areas of my background. Now today I'm going to be using a mask to create a little bit of interest in my background, and all I've done is use a circle punch to punch out some perfect little circles. I just used a Creative Memories punch like that, but you can get all sorts of different brands of circle punch. That's not really important. So I have a small circle ready to go, and I've punched it out of card. I prefer to use my masks in card, they just seem to sit a little bit better. And a larger circle. So I'm going to start by placing the small circle mask down on my page there, and I'm using the blue expansion pack. So here's what the little tub looks like, a little container looks like. So the idea with these is you open up the top, that's why they're called flip E's, they've got like a little flippy top, and you tip some onto your page, and then you can use either the applicators that come with them, and I'll just show you one of those. Okay, these are the applicators. They're like a little spongy material, or you can use your finger, and I prefer to use my finger. I just feel like I get better coverage, and it's fun. Now usually you would tip this product straight onto your page. I'll just do a little bit over here. So just tip a little bit of the powder out like that, flip the lid closed, and use your finger to smear or to move the pigment around. So I'll just do in the little bit behind the seahorse's fin, just moving the pigment around. Now if you find that you've got too much pigment out, too much of the powder, you can unscrew the top, and then there's a little funnel in the beginner's pack, in the starter pack, which you put on top of your container. Pick your page up, just make it into a little funnel itself, and then pour the pigment back into the bottle. There wasn't very much there anyway because I hadn't really wasted much. Right, now let's have a look at using the mask. So I'm going to take my circle mask and put it close to my seahorse's nose. And now I'm going to use a dark blue because I know that's going to look good against the white. Flip the lid up. Now I'm actually going to tip a little bit on the side here. You can see I've got a just a bit of A3 spare paper. Now this is how I prefer to do the masks. You can use a plastic container as well, just to keep things nice and tidy. Right, so you pick up the pigment with your finger, and it will just stick to your finger. Hold your mask with the other hand, like I've just used my finger there, and then with the pigment you're just going to brush away from the mask with your finger. You'll have to move your finger that's holding it so you can get right around, get some more of that pigment on your finger. Go right around the mask. Be fairly gentle so that the mask doesn't move. Again, I'm just making sure I get right around that mask, and then gently lift that mask off, and you'll see you've got a nice circle there with the dark blue. I'm just going to use that little bit of pigment I've got left there in the background. Now I'm going to use my larger mask and put it just above the smaller one, and I'm going to change colour. Now the great thing about these pigments is they blend into one another really well. I'm going to go back to this sort of sea bluey green colour, put some on the side here. You don't use very much, and these little containers last forever. Pick it up with my finger, and I've used a different finger, so this finger's dark blue, this finger's sort of the sea greeny colour. Hold my mask with the other finger and brush around the mask with the pigment. Move my finger, go around the rest of the mask. You get a nice little bit of dark pigment in around the mask. It looks really good. Lift up my mask, and there's my bigger circle. So now I'm just going to blend those colours in together a little bit. I'm going to use a little bit more of the dark blue. I've still got a little bit here. Pick it up with my dark blue finger. Sometimes I get them mixed up, doesn't really matter. And start using that to fill in some more of that background. Now I haven't got enough, so I'm going to put out a little bit more of the pigment. Use my finger to pick it up and start working it into the page. This is why you need a piece of paper underneath. If you want to get right to the edges of that page, you need to have something underneath so that your surface that you're working on doesn't get too dirty. Okay, this time I'm going to tip it on my page, directly onto my page, so there's only a tiny bit of pigment there, and start working it in. Blend it into the other colours that I've already used. Go around the nose of the seahorse. You can actually go over the black lines. Because this is such a soft product, it won't affect your pencil. So you can see that's really starting to make a difference to my picture now, and to make it look a bit more special. Now I'm going to go for a light blue. I'm going to tip that straight up here. Start working it in. Go around the top of my seahorse. I'm just really going around in circles or back and forth. There's really no right way to do this. And I think over here I want a little bit more of the dark colour, so I'm going to tip that straight onto there again. Nice big bit of pigment this time. And work it into the page. Right down into those little gaps there. Go over the pencil, won't matter. It does. If you've got a very light colour of pencil, you will get some muddiness. So if you've got a very light colour, like a very light pink, I would steer clear of mixing it too much. Okay, and then I'm just going to move that pigment off my page. And at the top here, I'm feeling I need a little bit more of this light blue. So tip some of that on there. And work it in. And around. And I think we'll have some of that underneath his chin as well. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, now down the bottom here I want some more bubbles. That's what I'm calling these circles. So I'm going to use my small mask down there with the light blue, I think. Tip it on next to the page, use my finger to pick it up, and I've kind of blurred all my colours together now. Doesn't matter. if I go to a lighter colour like that, back to that sea green, I'll use another finger, or I can wash my hands. Move my thumb, my finger, go back over that area. Make sure that whole area is nicely covered and pick up my mask. And there's my circle. Now you can see it's a little bit, where the pigment is thicker, there's a little bit of pigment there, but you can either just blow that away or use a very soft makeup brush, which I will do later, but at the moment, because I'm working quickly, I'm going to leave that. Okay, another circle. I'm going to do another big one. Bit of pigment at the side there. Pick it up with my finger. And start working it in. You've got to be careful not to go into the area that you've left white, otherwise you'll just lose your mask, lose your careful little circle that you've left there. Okay, and I think I'll have another little circle up here. Right, I want to go back to that lighter colour, so I'm going to change fingers again. Put a little bit at the side. So I'm going to use this finger that's clean. Hold on to my mask. And always starting on the mask and rubbing away. If you try to rub towards the mask, your mask will move and you'll lose your lovely white shape underneath. Oops, I think I need a bit more of that colour. I'm going to tip that a bit more on the side there. There we go. Moving my finger. Pick up the mask and there's my nice circle. And let's get in there, blending those colours together. It's quite handy. This pack is actually called the Sea Adventure Pack, so it works well with this particular picture. And a little, actually I've got some of that blue there already, so find a finger that's appropriate and keep working that in. Just move my page down a little bit. And a bit of that colour over here. I'm not going to do too many bubble masks on this, just because it takes a lot of time and I don't want the video to take too long to download for you. A bit more of that sea green colour, sea greeny blue, which I love. Down the bottom here, mix it in. And I think some more of that very dark blue. Put a little bit more on my little palette there at the side. Pick it up on my finger and rub it in. Now these smaller bits in here are a great space to use the applicator. So I'll pick up an applicator. Mine are well used. So this is my blue applicator. As you can see, I've been using it for painting as well. It's got all sorts of different colours on it, but that won't come off on my page. So I'm going to tip a little bit into that small area, just a little bit, and then use my applicator. The slightly smaller, finer areas. and in this little area here, using a darker colour here because I've used a light pencil, so that will contrast nicely, bring out the lightness of the pencil that I've coloured with. Now that I've gone into those areas, I'm going to switch back to my finger to blend into those areas. So most of the background is now coloured. I'm just going to lift it up and tip off those excess bits of pigment. You can tip it or tap it or brush it, and there you have a seahorse with a nicely blended background. Thank you for watching.